today we are pleased to have a special guest on the Fourth Man today. He was one of the original Harlem Globetrotters and does a lot of great work, especially in the Maryland area. Charles Choo Smith. Choo, we appreciate you coming on, man, especially with everything going on.
Will and Anthony, I'm excited to be on, man. The Fourth Man podcast. We in the building. Y'all pick me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man, I'm a part of that legendary greatness, huh?
Hey, we're hoping that it's going to be legendary one day, but hey, this is the roots right here. So as we continue to grow right here, we look back on the man Choo was on here. So we appreciate you being on here. And, you obviously have a lot going on, but I want to start, just a little bit with your past because, everyone obviously hears Harlem Globetrotters and like, wow, what a legendary, group to be a part of. How did that even come back? How did you even get started with those guys?
Well, it's kind of strange, Anth. Like, I wasn't a basketball player, growing up. I didn't have any aspirations of being an NBA guy or want to go play college basketball. My parents, that was probably the fourth sport that I really liked. My sports were baseball, football, and boxing. My favorite sport was boxing. I really loved boxing. Still my favorite sport. And I boxed at a young age. And my father was a Marine, Vietnam vet, warden in the prison, and he was big on discipline. So he gave me all those four sports. But I was really, each sport, signified something that was going to be added to my life. Baseball, thinking man's game, being able to deal with situations. Football, toughness, being able to take punishment, being able to think on your feet while you're going through different changes, using your physical ability. And then boxing was conditioning and one-on-one dealing with yourself and having that mental fortitude to overcome and be able to dig deep in pressure situations. And then basketball was it was something that I didn't really get into and didn't have a life lesson for because I didn't play it I only played it outside. I didn't play it until my senior year in high school. So I only played, people don't know it, I only played 1 year of high school basketball. I didn't play any AAU, no camps, no nothing there. But when I was in the 10th grade, it was a situation where people said I was too small. People was joking me, and I'm in the heart of the Baltimore City. And if you know anything about Baltimore City, you got to be tough. So I said, man, I got to get into this basketball because it seems like people think I'm not that good. And the crazy thing about it, Anthony Will, I had a chance to get drafted in baseball. So I gave up my baseball chances to get drafted because I played 4 years of high school baseball, varsity, one game from the Little League World Series. So I was really, really good. Wow. And I gave that up for basketball, tried out my junior year, broke my leg. Baseball was mad, so I didn't play. Then went and played my senior year and then did pretty good, but I didn't have any major offers. I had a combination of baseball and basketball, one Division I offer, and then the rest was Division II and Division III offers. So I went on and started working, and then it's so crazy. I'm working, getting in trouble. People are dying in front of me. 3 of my best friends get killed. And my father said, boy, I'm going to kill you before I let these streets kill you. And that's how I went on and started taking basketball serious. I went to Bowie State. Once I went to Bowie State, I break my leg again. I get my academics in order. I get depressed. Then that year I was getting ready to play, that's when I broke my leg. I'm sorry. Then when I broke my leg, I got depressed, went on academic probation, got a 1.9, didn't play. Then I started working, get my grades in order. Then I transferred, and then the rest is history. I got a chance to do real well and in college. The next thing you know, I got an invite to the New York Knicks rookie free agent workout, did well. Then I went overseas, came back, did the USBL, did the CBA. Then I did the UBA, and a Globetrotter representative was there. And he said, if you come will take a look at you, want you to play on a team that plays against overseas guys. And I did that, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Certainly a long journey to get there. I mean, not only Baltimore tough, and then you also had your father instill another type of toughness into you. And then, you know, through all of that, you had so much adversity that you're facing. So now you're getting to the Harlem Globetrotters. You know, you've completely shut down doubters. You've, you know, accomplished more than a lot of people could have. But what were your expectations going into this? Because certainly this is something that has evolved over the years. You know, you were the foundation, the roots of what the Globetrotters are now today. But what were your expectations going into it?
Well, it was a thing where, you know, the legacy, you know, during my generation, you know, the Harlem Globetrotters was probably more popular than the NBA. Yeah. You know, it was everything growing up as a kid. You had Curly Neal, you had Metal Lark Lemon, you had Geese Osby, you had Sweet Lou, you had Twiggy Sanders. So you had all these great Globetrotters who came through, and then you had, before them, you had Goose Tatum, Marcus Haynes, and Toots Wright, and you had all these greats where they went all over the world and just created just joy and happiness with the wizardry of the game. And for me to be a person that they picked, and now I'm one of the featured guys because I'm a dribbler that's next to the showman. So now I'm the Curly Neal with the showman. And then I get a chance to play with the great Sweet Lou, who's our showman. So it's like, wow. Then I play with the great Showbiz, that's a showman, and Paul Showtime Gaffney and Eric Broadway Jones. So all these showmen, it's like, wow, me? So all I wanted to do was learn the ins and outs and take on what's the responsibility in being a global ambassador. And one of the things that I didn't realize, I already had it and I was already doing it before I got there. I'm a people's person. I'm somebody that's gonna work hard. I'm gonna follow whatever the path is, and I'm a team player. So that, I mean, what they afford you to be able to meet tons of people. I mean, I've been to 50-something countries. I've been to every state in the United States. I've met every influential person there is. And then the impact you have on families, you know, to see people look at you and see you in the way they see you. I'm just grateful to be a part of a legendary, powerful institution that has touched people all over the world for almost 100 years.
I think, yeah, it's absolutely right what you said. You know, growing up, the Harlem Globetrotters, especially for your generation, you know, was sort of this institution that at one time, you know, was bigger than the NBA, especially for basketball. And in other sports, there is no Harlem Globetrotters of baseball or of football or soccer. So it's really such a unique and interesting institution. And rightfully so, because the product that they put on for the court spanning decades, it has been incredible. What goes on behind the scenes? What is the training, the choreography like?
Great question. Great question.
Thank you.
So what blew me away is like training camp and being prepared for a game. See, the road is you're talking about, we played 57 games in 163 days. So, and then we had double hitters maybe 30 times. So you're talking about the body is getting beat up at a high rate. We don't have, like, I had a trainer that was assigned to me where I had to get in a tub of ice every single night. Wow. And I had to play all 4 quarters. So it wasn't like I could, you know, some of the guys, they play 1 quarter, they play a half a part, or they play 2, or they play, like I had to do the hardcore basketball stuff and the show stuff. So during the day, I'm gonna give you a actual day. So let's just say we flew in, we went to bed, we woke up in the morning. So in the morning, we might have to do 5 radio shows. We might have to visit 3 or 4 schools. And then we have our breakfast or whatever in between all those times. Then we go to lunch. Then we might have to rest for about an hour. And then we got to go straight to the arena. And once we get to the arena, we got to practice. So remember, we have competitive and then we have show. And then we also used to play the college all-stars or national teams. So I was doing both. I was doing the show plus that because I could play competitive. So I had to do the practice competitive 1 to 3. Then I had to do the show practice 3 to 5. This is every single day, no breaks.
Oh my God.
Then have to perform at 7 o'clock.
Man.
That's crazy. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that,
oh no, yeah.
And then don't get paid millions and millions of dollars like the NBA.
No.
Right.
And we got paid pretty good money at the time, you know, because that was during the time when Manny Jackson, big shout out goes to Manny and Jeff Money, they pretty much gave guys pretty good money. It was underneath the NBA money, you know, but it wasn't millions of dollars. So the highest paid Globetrotter was making about $500 and something thousand.
Okay.
So it was everybody was making anywhere from 80 to 500,000 based on your pedigree, your performance level, your tenure, and all that. So that just gives you an idea. And that's in the 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s. Then after that, new management, new people, they broke that money down, broke it in half, and then you folks just barely getting 60 to 100 plus thousand a year to date. And you got to figure, we packing stands, you're talking about, oh my goodness, you got all the NBA arenas sold out every time I played. So that's an idea. And I'm glad that was a great question. You know, nobody ever asked me that question, Will, in 20 years, man. That's crazy.
That's crazy because that was like the number one question that I wanted to ask.
Yeah, that's amazing because you know everybody just gets excited, but they don't even know what we really went through. And I was just amazed to even tell you because I had to go back there and say, wow.
You realize you're like, wait a minute.
You know what
you probably haven't stopped since either. I mean, with that kind of schedule and just the willpower to keep going every day, I mean, how do you even slow down from that kind of schedule?
And that's another, Anthony, I was just telling Miss Kern that just now about how no disrespect, like I'm built different. So like when you know you retire, like if you don't perform in our arena, they send you home or you get cut. And it's like you fight to not get cut and not get sent home because somebody young is coming to take your job. So it's like for me, I don't know relaxation. I don't know, I'm gonna be complacent. All I know is you gotta hit that thing. So my demand is, and my expectations are like really off the charts. And I had to really understand like, wow, you don't know this can get taken from us? You don't know that we can ready to blow this opportunity? Where for us as athletes, especially being in the trial, because I've seen people get sent home. I've seen people buy houses and build houses and get cut, and now you don't have that money to take care of that house, you know? So when you know that demand, I've seen the pressure. If you don't perform, we sending you, or you ain't gonna get this bonus in. It's that kind of, we can't miss a dunk. I've seen a guy get sent home for missing 3 dunks in a show because we're supposed to be, we don't make no mistakes. We're the magicians.
Right.
So on a dribble, you better kill that dribble, Choo. You better do that curly nail dribble. And it's like, woo. And the pressure, the owner. And then you got Denzel Washington, Jack Nicholson, Penny Marshall, Cuba Gooding Jr., Jamie Foxx, Alan Payne. You got all these people in the front row in every city you go to, and they expect you to look good and be good. So these are the things that people don't understand. That transition, because I work for the NBRPA. Well, I'm on a task force with the NBRPA, the National Retired Players Association. And what we do is we help athletes transition from their playing days. And that's one of the challenges. Where do I get that rush? Where do I get that challenge? And because I've only been playing basketball all my life, how do I go and get an analyst job or a coaching job or a job in the media or behind the scenes or a front office position? I never was taught. All I know is this. And all I know is that heightened energy, the lights, because you're always in the lights. The pressure cooker, that's what we call it. Pressure cooker.
They call it the Instapot nowadays.
Yeah, yep, you got it. You got it, man. You got it. Yep.
So I guess so. What to dive into that a little bit more? What do you say to those guys who retire and they want to get an analyst job or they want to start their own business? What is the balance between exerting the same energy and the same drive and the same passion that you had for basketball into something else, but also now taking a step back and maybe you have to be more collaborative or work with people who maybe aren't all professional athletes or who share that drive?
Yeah, see, so Will, it's almost like it's twofold that I come to realize. Like what I know now, if I knew then, oh boy, it would be so easy and much gravy. But that's part of that, being able to surround yourself with people that that's the poster childs of putting you in that kind of position that help you make that transition to the next level as it relates to your second phase of your life. So what I would say to young people is that understanding you're a brand and everything you do is going to be magnified. So you got to be a good person. You got to treat everybody great. In your transition of coming up, you got to treat the person that's wrapping your legs, the person that's giving you water, the person that's helping you with your hotel, your family. Just treat people good. And then secondly, understand that you have an identity outside of basketball. So what happens is basketball is what we do. It's not who we are. So a lot of the times people don't understand that athletes are normal and they got their own things that they're dealing with. And it's a lot of pressure. People always say people change around you. I mean, that you change, but it's the people around you that change because you're in a different stratosphere as it relates to your brand. So if you know you're a brand, now you got to have good, solid people around you that help elevate your brand to put you in positions for the days to come. So while you're playing, build those business relationships, go to those things that people want you to come to, figure out what they're doing and how they got where they got, and start keeping in contact. And then ask questions about where do I put my money in? How do I learn this industry? And how do I learn that industry? And what is it about me that I can go to the next level? So you got to have a good management team. You have a good agent. And then you just got to have good friends and people that's not like leeches, but people that bring something to the table next to you that help elevate you. That's why you got to give LeBron a lot of credit, because LeBron didn't just give those guys money. LeBron sent them to school, or he had them go into other agencies. So now he has a big team around him where while he's playing, he's building his platform for the next phase. Now you can just come on out and then there's a gold mine. See, for me, I had to learn on the job training. I didn't have nobody to show me or teach me and all that. And then you also got that little hate, that competitive hate. It's not hate, but it's just that competitive thing that we are as athletes. I don't want you to be bigger than me, or I don't want to share what I got, and those kinds of things. And that's what I'm trying to break now, to let everybody know we need each other. And that's what's happening today in this climate with COVID. There's no money in COVID. It can get anybody. No status in COVID, And these are things that I would tell young people, know who you are, write your plan out, and surround yourself with people that's going to be able to maximize your gifts and talents while you're journeying on with your career.
Yeah, and you obviously, you kind of hit on it. I was going to say, let's even take it a step further, to the younger generation, because you work with a lot of the younger generation within the Baltimore area, and I'm sure just everywhere at this point, And I think the biggest thing is when working or with those athletes that are trying to figure out the next phase of their career, they already have drive. They've already put a lot of effort. They know what it takes to be great, even when it comes to another industry. But how do you instill that into the younger generation, especially in a day and age that we have now, where everything's kind of at the tip of your fingers? There's not a lot of patience. It's everything right. I need it now. How do you instill that, from your perspective into this younger generation, especially in a tough city like Baltimore?
See, Anthony, the one thing, and I keep going back to knowing your lane and understanding like we're men. And there's a social responsibility as men that we got to understand who we are as men, just like we have women. That's a social responsibility. And we have to understand and embrace that. We can't dance and go back and forth, and we can't put one foot in and one foot out. You got to be who you say you are all the time, because that's the trust factor. If I sit on here and say all this stuff I'm saying to you, and then you see me out and I don't represent what I say and I don't represent what I do, now I become a hypocrite. Now I become a fraud. Now the trust is not there. So what I come to realize with young people is young people want to be told the truth, but they also want to realize that you're living the truth and you're going to own your own stuff. So what I try to do is I meet people where they are, and I understand that I was a kid trying to find my way. So I automatically respect the error. See, I'm not going to beat the error up. I'm going to respect the error, but I'm going to meet you where you are and let you know I'm a clown. I like to have fun. I enjoy. And I was a thorough guy there that didn't take no stuff either. And I was tough in them streets, and I dealt, but I was very well read, and I respected authority. And I understand that everyone can lead at the same time. You know, you got to learn how to be an Indian, and then that way you can learn how to be a chief. You can't go to chief status without going through some things from an Indian perspective, because you're not going to be empathetic, and you're not going to be able to put policy in place to know what to do with the Indian if you don't have Indian experience. And I think that's what's going on with society today. People are putting policy and putting things in place when they don't even know what's really going on. They're just using statistics and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with the moral core value of life. We are human beings. We bleed, we hurt, we have demands and feelings. We three being creatures, mind, body, and soul. And if any part of that is fragile, then you're not going to get the most of that individual anyway. So I try to get down deep, and I strip myself and make me vulnerable to the child or to the family or to the kid. So now you can't spin me. You can't go over here and go there. You know that I'm being truthful to you because I'm living in truth. Even if I'm wrong, even if I'm making mistakes, I'm going to own that before you tell me, because that's who you got to be. And what happens is the kids, they buy in. The families buy in. You're going to have some that just want to be how they want to be. But for the most part, you're going to get more than most that's going to say, this is different. This person cares about me. This person wants the best for me. Because your actions always speak. So I'm just a doer by nature. And I just try to do for the young people. And once I do for them, the trust comes, and now we can grow. And then tell me, you hurting? What's wrong, man? Something going on with you? Talk to me. Because I know what you're doing right now ain't got nothing to do with what we're doing. It got something to do. It's a backstory there that you're suppressing. And a lot of our young people nowadays, they're introverted. They need a voice. And they feel like anytime they speak out, it's looked at disrespectful. But we got to teach our young people, and you all in the generation that you're in and younger, you got to be those examples. And we got to hear each other. Like you're hearing me right now. You're like, wow, I know this is a different perspective. So it's like, wow, okay, that's something I can be open to. And then you too got to give me, because this is not a dictatorship. We all here teaching each other to edify life. And that's what we try to do with the young people, and just lead by example and just own it, because we can all help each other at a higher level. Y'all helping me today, I'm helping you today. And that's how it works.
Well said.
I absolutely love that philosophy. And I feel like a philosophy with those values goes hand in hand with team sports, and especially basketball. Like you said, just we're all going to help each other. Not everybody can lead at the same time, just things like that. How do you find for a program, how do you staff people that share that same philosophy?
Man, y'all, what is going on? Stop the presses, man. Y'all like this. Y'all split my head to the white meat. It's like, oh, I mean, wow. Boy, y'all on y'all way. That's crazy, man. I gotta get my head back together, man. Ask me a question again, man, so I can get back focused. Boy, y'all got me all rattled, boy. I'm glad I'm sharp, boy, because y'all have me split open. Ask me again, Will, please.
How, when you build you're trying to build a culture and you're trying to build a program that, exemplifies those ideals, what goes into staffing and what goes into bring people that are going to help build that culture?
Will, that is the $6 million question. Because what happens, I'm crazy, Will. Will, seriously, you see, I'm crazy. So my whole thing is like, listen, man, I value you. You understand what I'm saying? All I want to do is add to you, Will. All I want to do is add to you. And do we have the same synergy? Do we have the same goal to edify the next person next to you? So when I come to people, it's hard, Will, because people are in the way. That's the crazy thing. Like, everything we do is really self-inflicted. So it's a situation when I'm trying to meet, that's the hardest thing to do, to try to get those people to buy in. Because you know what they say? Oh, man, you trying to take advantage. Oh, they trying to take it. Oh, I ain't getting paid enough. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, I need to get my own. Oh, it's all of that. And then it's a confrontational thing that you be like, hold up. I don't know this. The meeting has been upgraded by okay.
All good.
So,
all good.
No, we good. So what happens is hard, Will. But what we do is we try, what I try to do is I try to strip myself and go to people and let them know that this is who I am. And hopefully they can see something in how I am, and they can bring the best version of themselves to be a part of what we do. Because really, to be honest, it's almost like a question that in this day and time, it's tough to answer, because everybody is in pain and their philosophy in life is about meism, and it's not about the collective, and it's not about the big picture. I've been able to have good people though, but I've had to spend years and years to break them down, to get them to understand why we're doing what we're doing, and to get them to understand it's all about the service. It's all about the hospitality. It's all about the good, organic, pure culture. And we are here to do for others and get others to understand we're here for them to be adjuncts to what they're doing, as it relates to their kid or as it relates to a family in general. And because people take it personal, and we shouldn't be in the business of taking things personal when we're trying to help edify people. So I think it's a skill, or it's just something that God gives us. Because I look at y'all spirit. Somebody gave that to you, or you've inherited it, or you follow somebody that has the ability to interview and has the spirit. Like, I love y'all spirit. Y'all making the interview easy for me. Sometimes I got to really carry the interview because you don't know how to engage me. You don't know how to pull out the best in me. And you don't know the proper questions to ask to make the interview blossom and elevate. But there's a surrender on both parties and a preparation on both parties that makes that do what it do. And that's the issue with trying to find those kinds of people. You have to organically surrender. So my answer is hard.
All right. So if we come up with the answer, that $6 million is going to be on the other side for us, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure we were straight on that.
Yeah.
So talking about some of your young people there, I mean, you obviously have a nonprofit going on, and that ended up leading to kind of an AAU program for you guys, where you guys have been competing, it looks like, nonstop, regardless of you know, the situation at hand, you guys have been able to go out there and compete, and you've been able to showcase some of these young guys, you know, help them get into
Right.
schools, whether it's academically or athletically.
Right.
How has that been going? I mean, I know in this day and age right now, or like the climate we're in, it's a little bit tough just because you can't have everybody you'd want to be there in the stands
Right.
or attending.
Right.
But how has that been going? I think you've done a wonderful job just being able to do that through your own social media pages and whatnot. But, you know, let us know how it's going and like maybe some of the challenges that you're even facing doing it.
Well, what happened, we really, all right, so this year, this is our 6th year doing it. And the only reason I started doing it is because over the years, a lot of the kids that were playing with the shoe companies and traveling all over the world, they trying to be top 50 and top 100 kids. What was happening was they would concentrate on those 2 or 3, but those other 7, 8, 9, 10 kids, it had always been difficult for them to go to school. So they would all come to me and be like, because of my relationships, Coach Choo, can you help me? Can you help me? And this, that, and the other. So at the time I had camp, I had the educational component, all this stuff going on, and I would help guys. So then around 2009, Nike and some other came to me, and I wasn't ready. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't interested because I thought it was a headache. And then I can't have parents telling me how to do my profession, what I know how to do real well. And, you know, parents are looking at getting the next LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony's. So that was kind of the history that was going on. So around 2015, I started, I had a kid that's right now, remember the name, his name is Daquan Dede Bracey, played at Louisiana Tech. He special kid. He may get drafted 2nd round, but he's going to be on somebody's NBA team in the next year or 2. So I had him since he was 8. So what happened was he just won the 16U championship. So when he won the championship, I would take him to New York, take him all over, play against the finest players in the world. So he had got 9 high major offers. So at the time, a lot of people was in his life that shouldn't have been and things of that. So his mother called me and said, can you take my baby and handle his college decision? And I said, no problem. He comes to me and said, can you start an AAU team? So I start the team. So when I start the team, he said, Coach Choo. I said, I don't have a shoe contract, son. So it could hurt your chances in being a McDonald's All-American or going to the next level or being a top 100 kid. He was like, I don't care nothing about that. I need you to give me that man stuff to help me be prepared for life after basketball. It's like, whoa, oh my goodness. So I took $20,000 of my money and it was like 11 kids that we had since 8 years old. He said, I'm gonna help them get scholarships. So that young boy, we created a team, Team Choo, 6 years ago. We had 13 guys. He got 11 kids in school because everybody went to recruit him.
Wow.
And we had 5 guys go Division I off that 1 year we was in existence.
Wow.
5.
That's
So
incredible.
we went on and I said, all right, I'll keep it going. So this year, so since then we've had 40 kids get scholarships in 6 years. No, in 5 years. My fault. In 5 years, we had 40 kids. So with that, this year, when the COVID hit, we had this good group. And I was like, Will. And I was like, they not going to go to school. What we going to do? They canceled the live period for the evaluation. So I said, all right, I got to get on my guy. So I called my man. I said, listen, man, these kids ain't got no video. So I said, I need to get some highlight tapes. So we're going to play in a tournament in Pennsylvania. We're going to video all the tournaments. And I need you to put your ball of vision on, put that top notch. So he put it on. I start kicking the highlight tapes out. And I got a 6'9" kid that I don't know what people's problem is. Like, what is y'all doing? Like, nobody wanted this kid, right? So I'm saying, okay, I got him. I start putting work into him. I'm like, I called some high major schools, so SMU pull the trigger. Man, we offering the kid. So once we offered them, I sent some film all through the different schools on all the kids. So we ain't featured one, we featured all 11. So what happened was he got 4 offers, a ton of the other kids got interest, and we hit the East Coast by storm. And them kids they on the radar of going to school. We got 4 Division I prospects and 3 Division IIs and the rest D3s. And I'm just so happy for them. But we got in front of it, man. We just was proactive. People invited us to major stuff, and the kids are shining, man. I'm proud of them. And
that's incredible.
Yeah,
incredible stuff.
I mean, yeah, that's certainly incredible. I mean, that's just insane, just from a number standpoint, just from what you've been able to do in such a short period of time. How much of what you've learned about the sport of basketball or about life or about anything from the Harlem Globetrotters and their brand of basketball, how much of that do you use when you're developing these kids and you're training them?
Wow. So Will and Anthony, I'm a sponge. And you know, I just believe that I learn from any and everybody. Like right now, y'all don't even understand. In this interview, you're teaching me a lot. So my brain works, it's like this, real fast. Sometimes I'm too fast for my own good. And I mess up a little bit because I want to get so much out. Just like y'all ask me questions, but I got to give you some backstory to the question to get to the meat of the question. I know you've noticed that, because I want you to understand the fullness of why the answer is the way it is. So when you talk about the Globetrotters, like, the one thing I learned from them is nobody knows about the last show. So when you show up in a city, nobody knows about what you did on Tuesday. All they concerned about, we want to see what we seen on that commercial. We want to see what we saw last year. And for those that never seen this show, we heard so much about it. So you all better be what you say you are. And management puts that pressure on you. And then you put that pressure on yourself to never cheat the audience. You got to be on point all the time. Now, some of the time, and there's no such thing as my fault, my bad, what had happened, I'm sorry. That's what the Globetrotters taught me more than anything, that you are only as good as the day you have to perform. See, the greats, you pay to see Michael Jordan, you pay to see Larry Bird, you pay to see Luka Doncic. When they don't show up and you have never seen him before, you're disappointed with that $75 ticket you paid, or you're disappointed for your floor seats for thousands of dollars and that person didn't entertain. We are entertainers, even though that's our profession. So if I'm gonna say the biggest thing is that never rest on your loins, never be complacent, always do your best. I'm gonna give you what they also taught me, and it's a book I want y'all to read. It's called The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. Be impeccable with your word. Trotters taught me that. My dad taught me that. Other powerful people taught me that. Don't take things personal, because when you take it personal, you get in your emotions, can't think straight, can't handle adversity. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume a question or an answer. Know it. Get to the bottom line, because everybody can assume whatever it is, and assumptions destroy relationships, and it stagnates growth. And no matter what the situation is, this is the number one thing. Always do your best, no matter what you're going through. I'm going through a lot right now, y'all. I just shared only 10% of what I'm going through. But I'm giving y'all my best. You would never know, because I have a responsibility to myself, to God, my family, and you, and the listeners. Because if I can give one thing that can help someone get over the hump in their life or help them get through whatever situation, that's what it's about. And that's the edification and the gratefulness I have for that organization that created a platform for me to make sure people can see me for who I am.
Yeah, and we appreciate you, 100%. And I think those 4 things can apply to anyone in everyone's life. So anyone listening to this, I think, can take a lot just from that alone. And I think too that the way you live your life, I'm sure, is how, you've explained it throughout this, is that how you're teaching these younger generation, and even, guys that are just coming out of the NBA or professionals, you're trying to instill that in them as they continue to live their lives. Now, one thing you're also doing is you're the vice president of operations in the Young Three. So you're not only teaching the younger generation within Baltimore, but wherever the big three's going, the Young Three is there. We think that's really cool. Just, obviously we're big fans of the big three, but just having that aspect to it each week is really cool idea that they were able to come up with. And you work alongside Jerome Williams, who was not only a former member of Power, but now also in the NBA for a long time. But yeah. How did you guys link up, and how did you get the opportunity to do this? And what has that experience kind of been like?
This gonna mess y'all up. And see, this one talk everything. Y'all not ain't gonna believe what I'm getting ready to say to you.
Oh gosh.
So see, this is why I say you gotta do right by folk. Me and Jerome Williams known each other for 25 years. I met Jerome Williams when nobody knew who Jerome was. He was a nobody, just like I was a nobody, playing in a gym called Murray. And we battling other known guys like Walt Williams and Reggie Williams and NBA guys. We in there trying to make a name of ourselves, going against each other, all being on the same side, and we playing, right? So listen to this narrative. So that happens in the early 90s, okay? Jerome Williams gets drafted in 96. I'm gone off and played Globetrotters, all that. So all that's materializing, right? We don't run into each other. We playing some leagues together, summer stuff here and there, right? So we don't run back into each other until 2010.
Wow.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Small world.
So check it out. So from 93, 94, 95, all the way up there, 92, 93, all that, we hit and miss it, right? But it was always love. We respected all that. But in 2010, we go to this event. They picked both of us to go to Israel. Remember when we was in, Israel was in that war with all the different countries. And so we go there. It's me, Allen Houston, Dwight Howard Sr., Anthony Bonner, David Wood, all of us, we go to Israel. We spend 10 days together. We play games, I perform, we do all of this. And we learn about, we with Shimon Peres, the president of Israel. We did everything. They treated us good. We stayed at the King David, but we bonded like this. And we said, from now on, everything we do, we're going to support each other. So by the time, we're doing everything together from that point all the way to the big three. So he calls me, he say, man, I need you to come to Dallas. We can do this camp, man. We got to show these guys how we do with the youth. Go to camp, boom, we kill it. Then Clyde Drexler and Q call Rome and say, man, I need y'all to do this. And he grabbed him, he grabbed me, the brother, and the rest is history, man, because he know I'm going, so he can be Jerome. I got everything else covered.
That's insane. Small world, just to even link back up. But then too, just for y'all to have that bond after all those years. You guys weren't close, that close until 2010. And then now y'all are like this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy, man.
What's the experience been like with the Young Three? That's something that I feel like continues to evolve as well, along with the big three.
Well, the biggest thing, and see, this is the thing about sports that's so, I mean, I just say it's just the closest thing to bringing people together. You know, it just, sports unites because you can be from all different walks of life, cultural backgrounds. Sports just really brings you like this. And the experience been amazing. See, I'm the kind of guy like, you know, you got the NBA players, right? And you know, a lot of NBA guys, it's not their fault, but it's their ego. You know what I'm saying? Because the ego is what makes them great, but it also can get in the way when you deal with other people because they feel like they're untouchable and things of that. And rightfully so, because people don't know how to act when it comes to NBA folk because they always want autographs or you want this and that. And some people are not inclined to want to do that all the time. Where for me, I'm like, man, you want my autograph? Like, whether I've made millions of dollars or not, is, dang, you see me in this way. So we're empowering people. So when I came back to deal with the players like that, I knew a lot of the guys, and my thing was the big three staff. I wanted to get them to understand the power of the young three. Like, I know you utilizing it as a nonprofit arm, but you gotta also, and you using it as a give back, but you gotta understand what the give back means and what the give back represents and what the youth represents, because we were their age at one point. So how are we representing ourselves as a collective? So one of the things that I started doing was evaluating the big three people's job and what's entailed with the things that they do and start connecting with the big three staff. So once I start doing that, they like, wow, this guy. So then I said, I got to get the big three staff to respect the young three staff, because truth be told, they only respect Jerome for real. And the rest of these guys are NBA players too and professional athletes. So how do we bridge that gap to get them to understand like we're one family in this? So once I start doing that behind the scenes, then I start writing cards. So one of the things I did, I wrote cards to every employee, young three and big three, personalized cards. I value you, thank you on behalf of the young three and the leadership of Jerome Williams. We want to thank you for what you do for this brand. And we're grateful to what you do. And we love you, we appreciate it. So I handed these cards to every employee. That bridged the gap. So now they start getting into the young three differently, like, whoa, these guys is different. So then the love, the appreciation for Jerome, because we got to keep Jerome up. We got to say, man, this is why he's who he is. He was a global NBA ambassador. We can't hate on that. He was the #1 guy over everybody in the league. So this is what he does. And these are the people he have next to him that loves family, loves kids, going to teach life lessons and basketball skills at the highest level. And that's going to influence to see these young kids want to be big three guys in the next 7 to 8 years. But we got to show how that transcends into each other. And that's what's been the beauty of the young three, big three. And that's why it's been going. And that's why Q got the love for us, Mr. Muhammad, Thomas Scott, you know, all the key people, Jeff, you know, the announcer, you know, everybody, we love on everybody. And the kids, they get celebrated. I mean, imagine we bring these kids out on the floor. Y'all seen it? And the 25,000 cheering for you because you just made a basic fundamental layup. You know, it's like, wow, I wish I could have got that 11. You know, so I just think it's a beautiful thing, man. And it's that family. Oh man, I give Cube a lot of credit. Him and Jeff, man, it's big time, man. You know, to have the vision and go against the grain, because you know NBA ain't happy. You know what I'm saying? Because you cutting into that market and they selling out every, you know. Well, whether paid or not, but yo, the stands is packed. You know, So when you pack Brooklyn and them different kinds of places, Dallas, the Staples, I've been doing this a long time. That is big time. Big time.
100%. And I think the biggest takeaway is you got to show love everywhere, whether you're young, whether you're old, just show love to everybody. You got to value everybody. I think that's kind of been, the moral throughout this part of the show.
Right.
And so just to continue to instill that in us, just incredible what you guys have been able to do over there in the Young Three. That being said, I don't want to assume anything because we've already learned earlier in here that we don't assume. But because the Young Three travels with the Big Three, pretty much, every time they're going to a different city there.
Right.
I'm assuming that, no, I'm not assuming. But let me ask you this way. What are your thoughts on the Big Three, through the first 3 seasons and what they've been able to accomplish? I know you said you were very impressed with what they've been able to do, just been able to pack the stands, but I guess more so in-game play, the guys that have joined the league. What are kind of your thoughts on the Big Three as well?
See, I'm a firm believer, Anthony Will, that, it's easy for us as people on the outside critiquing what we don't understand and what we don't know in depth, right? So on the outside, I have a ton of things that I could say. They could do this better. They can do that better. This could happen. That could happen. This can happen. But I don't even really know the true intricacies on, first of all, I'm amazed on how they even do it. That alone, like how you get an NBA? I know you Ice Cube and everything, and I know you Jeff, but you really, and how do you go and get NBA players like that? Because there's licensing, there's a lot of different things with that. People in charge of likeness, it's a lot, when you cross over into those sectors. So there's a lot, prayerfully as time goes on, because a lot of those guys are building trust in me, and I have some stuff to bring to the table that can help add to what they're doing and bring some clarity to some things that can enhance it. But I think the biggest thing that we fail to realize is that the league is only 4 years old. And I know what the NBA looked like when it was 4 years old. It was 22 people in the stand. You know what I'm saying? And people was having 3 jobs,
Right.
So my thing is, that man is feeding them families. He fed us. I mean, where are you going to go to get 6 figures in 4 months or 3.5 months? Man, that right there alone, money talks, and them checks is direct deposit and they hit. Where you going to get that kind of money at? And you ain't even the best version of yourself hooping for real. You ain't Amari Stoudemire of 99 or 2005. You ain't Mahmoud Raouf of 93. You're an older version. So I just think he did a remarkable job of, showcasing the older athletes and keeping their brands alive and giving something for the communities, to look forward to see their favorite older player. I know they evolved, they made it younger. I think that was pretty good. I mean, you getting other people, actors, and, you building the base. I know he was implementing, I was meeting a while ago, they were implementing a couple different things that they're going to have that's a lot different. And let's see how it works. My thing is, I just want everybody to be healthy. I want us to get through this pandemic. And I know he's already said that whether we have fans or not, we're doing it. So that's something to look forward in 2021. But to your question, and I think they're in a good position, man. I hope that they do what they did in the music industry and the movie industry, and hire people that can take it to a whole nother level. and that's, I think, in time. I think the biggest thing, you got people on board. That's the hardest thing, to get people to follow what you're doing. That's the thing nowadays. How many views do you have, and how many followers, and are you an influencer? Those things are always prevalent, and I think he's done an amazing job. But we just gotta see how it comes about. What do you see? You think it's something more that can be done?
I think, kind of like you, we're very impressed with the evolution of this league, especially in that third year. We really thought that it just took a whole nother level.
Yeah.
There's plenty of factors that went into it and why it was able to evolve so much. But we think there's a lot of potential. But I think the biggest thing that Will and I have talked about has kind of been, okay, and I think we've kind of mentioned a couple times, is we got to get the right people in here to help, Cube and Jeff, those guys who already wear a ton of hats,
Right.
to help take it to that next level. You got to get the right people in here. You got to get those people to buy in to the league. And Will and I mean, we're not, employed by the league by any means, but we're two of those people that have really bought into this, and we want to see this thing succeed, because we think not only is the product good, but there's so many different factors that make this such a special league. Whether it's, trying to figure or giving guys like David Hawkins, Andre Owens, guys maybe that aren't as well known, a platform to showcase what they can really do. Providing more jobs, giving people, or I should say fans, more entertainment, and more basketball throughout the year, whatever the case, whatever the purpose is for each individual. I think that's ultimately, why we love this league so much, and why we want to see it grow, why we're consistently talking about it. And we think there's a lot of potential for this thing to be big time. Really do. Sustainable for a long time to come.
No, you spot on with that. And the biggest thing, like the one thing that everybody knows is, when you have players that people want to see, that alone is going to keep it vibrant. So like Vince Carter just retired. You think people ain't going to break their neck to come see Vince Carter if he come? If Kobe was living, eventually Kobe was going to come in this league. Don't get this twisted. I know his competitive nature. If he was living, he'd eventually, after he did all his business stuff, probably around 50, he would have probably tried to want to prove himself. After he did all his stuff, with his business stuff, he'd have got that itch again, because his daughter, and wanted to prove that he could destroy people at 50 years old. That's the kind of person he was. So I just think if we can get a couple of those headliners, and even some entertainers that can really play, like I'll tell you somebody that I would be going after, Chris Brown. He can play.
Yeah.
No, he can play. Yes. So if you can get somebody like him, and that's going to bring another audience. I think the biggest thing, and I'll close with this, the thing that they underestimated, they have not really established what's their demographics, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, if you look at the demographics, it's mainly, their audience is probably 35 to 65.
Primarily, yes.
Primarily. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's guys who want to see the players that they grew up watching.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much the audience. Not unless you, and I'm just saying that from a pure, you're not a big basketball fan. You like a name fan. You got different, like you all are fans, and you all are basketball and sports people. So even if you're young, you're like me. Like I knew all the people in the 50s and the 60s. I never grew up there, but I know the Jim Browns and the, Joe DiMaggio's and Jack Dempsey's, and I know them because that's what I do. I study the history of sports. So, well, y'all some bad boys, man. I love y'all.
I appreciate that.
Hey, we're trying to get to your level, and we know it takes a lot to do that.
For sure.
We got to put a lot of work into it. And we got to be humble and never complacent. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But we really appreciate this. This has been fun. It's been very educational, entertaining, and really appreciate your time and just taking the time, especially with everything you got going on in this climate. We really appreciate it.
No, Anthony and Will, I appreciate y'all, man. And I hope that, you know, I serve myself pretty good on your show. I know you have a lot of guests, and I hope I represented myself well enough for the standard that you expect. And I always love to keep that in mind, man. I don't want to cheat anybody, man. And I'm just grateful to both of you. I'm praying for your families. I'm praying for you all, the business. You know, I want you to win, y'all. And I'm proud of you. And I'm a phone call away. All right?
Appreciate that.
Thank you,
100%.
Choo. Yeah, we absolutely appreciate. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Much love to y'all. All right? Appreciate you. Take care. Thank you.